Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. It is time for the Bama Standard. Welcome back, everyone. Before we get rolling, I need a few small favors from you, the audience. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, live chat. We need to hear from you all night long. So do your thing. If you're watching the replay, get in the comment section down below. We will be pinning questions throughout the episode, and we'll answer them in the Q&A segment. You definitely want to be a part of that. This episode is a very, very good one. I'm your host, Justin Riley, joined by my co-host, 1999 All-SEC linebacker, Marvin Constant.
Yay, roll tide.
And then we got the eye candy of the show, who is never shy of expressing his opinion, the illustrious Daniel Pettey.
Let's go. Tuesday night.
Yes, sir.
Marvin's laughing. Why are you laughing, Marvin?
Because the look on George's face when he realized what I just texted him.
He played too much.
Folks, if you don't know, you're going to know really soon. We've got a very special guest, one of the true legends of Alabama football. You may know him from the Strip and plenty of unforgettable moments in Crimson Tide history. The legend himself, George Teague. Brother, welcome back, sir.
In the house. I appreciate it, man. You almost threw me for a loop there when you said you know him from the Strip. I'm like, what? Wait, what are you talking about? Strip and what?
That could apply to a couple of things back in your day, couldn't it, George?
Nah, because back in his day, they was at the CC, baby. You got to know the time. You got to know the time, baby.
Well, we had that place crunk out there, dog. I don't know.
And then you did play for Dallas, too, in an era where a few guys played on that team that we're known for getting a little rowdy.
Wasn't me. I don't know nothing about it, dog. I don't know what you're talking about.
You wasn't hanging out with 88?
Nah. Ain't mess with him. Ain't mess with the likes of Eric Curry, Copeland, all them dudes. Pop, man. They can do all their own thing. I let them be. I stayed in the dorm, man. That's all I did. I was quiet.
I'm talking about in Dallas.
Yeah, that
with 88 in Dallas?
Nah.
You went to bed?
Yeah, that's right. I don't mess around like that. I got some good stories though for the when I go in the back room, whatever, and we back here, we just talking. I give y'all some good stories, but it ain't meant for the Bama Standard. Let's put it that way.
What about the After Dark show?
Oh,
people can pay to get into that. We give you a little cut. It'll be worth your while. So. Man, it's very, very glad to have you back, brother. It's been a while, but we see that Teague's Take is ramped up and doing its thing. And we're going to bring a little bit of your wisdom from that show tonight. We got a lot of things we're going to talk about. So first of all, we got to talk about our Crimson Tide. We've hit the bye week, and we need to know where we at as a football team. So I'm going to pass the baton to our panel because y'all don't want to hear from me. So I'm going to start things out with George. George, we're 3 games in. Alabama's starting to show us who they are. So when you look at this group, you've been watching film, you've been dissecting it. What stands out the most to you so far? And do you see a clear identity forming yet?
I won't say it's clear, but I'll give you my 3 things, maybe 4 things that I think that have happened over the past few weeks. Because when you watch the very first game, Florida State, I think everybody was just like, what the heck is going on? And, you know, I didn't panic, but it didn't look good to me. And so the first thing I saw is improvement. And I'm talking about improvement from players being technically sound or more technically sound. It seemed like we were just doing things, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. They didn't seem to be very sound. Maybe Marvin will talk to the linebacker play on the way that it was early, but it didn't seem like they were getting like where they needed to be. So the second piece was off of that. I've seen a big difference in our physicality. I don't even know if I like that word when people say it, but I think just the physicality that the entire team has been having. The linemen, there's some nastiness going on up there. You're seeing DBs flying around hitting people. You actually saw the linebackers get downhill here recently. So I think that brings a whole different type of energy and attitude. Then my last thing would be Ty Simpson effect. I think we didn't really know what that was like, but man, just watching this last game, and I showed it on Teague's Take last night, just the passes that he putting in there, you could see comfort level. You could see the way he was standing tall, releasing the ball, and you could see tremendous accuracy, which I wasn't really sure about at first, just in the first game, just because everybody seemed kind of bad. So those are the 3 things that I'm taking. So from the eye test, yeah, it looks a whole lot better, but getting to the Georgia game that we're going to hit on a little bit more a little later, I guess, this is going to be the real first test, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Marvin, George alluded to it. So from your perspective, the linebacker's perspective, how do you feel about the physicality and toughness of this team compared to what you saw in week 1?
I think Hill Green did a great job. If you look at what Hill Green did in this game against Wisconsin, he was all over the field. He was physical. Point of attack, he brought something with him. He didn't just show up to stand around and get a ticket. He was really involved in the process. So that's a plus within itself. Now, the one thing that stands out to me the most about this team where we got to improve, if you go back to Florida State, we're 5 of 12 on 4th down. On 3rd down. Wisconsin 6 of 11. So we're 11 of 23 on 3rd down, getting off the field defensively. So we're giving offenses 50% chance of converting on 3rd down right now. George, like I know, you got to get off the field on 3rd down.
Joe do.
The fact that our 3rd down efficiency right now is trending around 50% is a problem. It's a problem. And you look at the competition we played, a lot of them, Florida State, we still don't know what Florida State is just yet. Wisconsin's playing with the backup quarterback and a piecemeal offensive line. So the fact that we're still trending around 50% on 3rd down worries me, because you're playing against a offense that's going to be a well-oiled machine. They're going to convert at a lot higher clip than 50% on 3rd down if we keep playing the way we're playing. Now, how do we rectify this? Again, against Wisconsin, we saw more pressure. We got 3 sacks in the first half. So that sped things up a little bit. The back end, the secondary, we still have some work to do on that piece. So I think this bye week is going to be big in hopefully clearing up a lot of these issues, because even when you go to 4th down, you look at 4th down against Florida State, Florida State didn't go for any, but Wisconsin was 1-on-1 on 4th down. So again, we have to work on getting off the field. And you look at the offense against Florida State, we were 6 of 17 on 3rd down. Against Wisconsin, 2 of 8 converting. We have to improve how we convert as well on offense. So, the numbers don't lie. And if you want to understand efficiency, those are 2 of the best stats to look at. 3rd and 4th down efficiency on both sides of the ball. And it's going to tell you what direction you're trending in.
Before I pass it to Pettey, Marvin, and George, I want to ask your opinion on how we handled the misdirection and the window dressing. Week 1, we were just completely devastated by it, but we go to week 3.
Time out. Hold on. My apologies. Florida State was 2 of 2 on fourth down. My apologies, I missed that one.
He's our Florida State guy in the chat. Just want to let everyone know. But yeah, where's your confidence in terms of being able to handle the misdirection and the window dressing? Wisconsin brought that out. I thought for the most part we did tremendously better. We are more disciplined, but I need to hear from you two guys. But George, can you start answering that question, and then Marvin will handle it, and then I'll go to Pettey for his question.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of going back to what he was saying. In my opinion, it's who you're playing and the coaches that you're up against. You know, this eye candy on linebackers and safeties, that stuff is not as easy as a lot of people think when you got people going like this, you know, lineman going one way, jet man going this way, and another receiver coming around the back. You know, if you don't have the eye discipline, then it could be a problem. And I think when you're playing with faster guys or playing against faster guys or people that are putting you in situations, we were kind of exposed a little bit or maybe a lot, you know, the very first game. So, no, I'm not that comfortable, and I don't know that any of us have a reason to be, you know, just because we haven't shown what we needed to show from a defensive standpoint when it comes to this. Can some of our guys just whoop some guys up front? Absolutely they can. Have we gotten better physically? Absolutely we can. But now it comes down to coaching, right, at this point, on how do you defend misdirection, you know, or eye candy, and making sure our guys are disciplined and that the coaches are understanding exactly what that means. I'm not calling our coaches bad. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's a whole different animal. I'm in the secondary, and it's easy for me to make a check as soon as they start moving. I'm 10, 12 yards back. But the closer you are to that line and you got to move linemen, you know, the linebackers got to be fast all of a sudden. You know, they're trying to maybe change the strength and all this kind of stuff on the fly. And then these people are then you got a puller going one way or another. Man, that stuff is difficult. So I'm just hoping we don't get, you know, bamboozled with that again, with the way the defense, you know.
To your point, George, about what you said in the level of difficulty in doing that. When you factor in you're poor on third down efficiency, and you're late in that third quarter and that fourth quarter, and you can't get off the field and you tired, and you having to make these adjustments, that brain is not operating the way it operated in that first half. It's not coming to you as quick as it did. That's why it's important to get your ass off the damn field when you can.
What, Justin, to add to that, and before you get to me, I want to add to the question to these guys, you know, and going into the Tennessee game, I think a lot of people saw Gunnar Stockton, right, as a game facilitator, not much as a playmaker. And then there he is making a lot of plays with his legs in a big game to extend drives. So you're talking about eye candy and eye discipline. You know, how much did that put on film that you got to work with going into the next week, with now the fact that, you know, Stockton can, like you say, Marvin, you got to get up on third downs and he can make plays with his legs then.
And Pettey, to your point, Georgia was 9 of 13 in third down efficiency. So they're trending higher than what we damn giving up. So we better get it together.
Well, we haven't shown what we can. We haven't shown what we need to do with quarterbacks that can run or scramble. I mean, in 2 years. So until we figure out how to get the right spy or the right twist, I don't know what you guys call it up front. You know, when you're sometimes the lineman is taking the quarterback, or maybe the linebacker's taking the quarterback, or maybe even a safety that's coming. They got to be, you know, on a quarterback type of thing. It ain't that easy. I guess the best thing is you got a couple weeks to try to secure this up. That's probably the best scenario, that you got some time to really try to figure it out.
But it's not difficult to pass players off, George.
All right.
Different era.
All ain't as smart as you, homeboy. You know, you're constant. You know, we need some constants. You know, serious stuff where we can just be consistent with things. The up and down, that's what's stressing me out, fellas. Just up and down. Give it, you know, we look like one way and then we go the other way. And, man, that's stressful, bro. Give me something that looks consistent all the time.
To your point, though, George, you look at the way they played first half against Wisconsin. They came out, dominated, controlled both lines of scrimmage. Boom. Second half, they come out, they play decent, but it was flatter than they played the first half. So it's like, why couldn't you play the second half like you played the first half? So, it's like, are you comfortable because you have a lead? Now you're going to play down to your competition.
Yep.
Is it that your conditioning is not good enough, that you're struggling late in games to close them out? Or is it that, you just feel like you're above the system and whatever's going to happen is going to happen? But it's got to be one of three things. But if you ask me, I think it's the fact that they had a lead and they just felt comfortable. And they just started to feel like they had the game at hand because, again, you get the kickoff return, the second play of the second half. After we score on the first play, Wisconsin matches the score. Then, we give up another score later in the game. It's just like, but certain little things like that shouldn't happen. You can't get laxed when you're up.
Just let me say this because I know you want to move on, but this is a real life scenario with me as a head coach, right? High school.
Go ahead.
Football. And this just happened this Saturday. We're playing against a team that maybe we weren't supposed to beat, or everybody thinking we're not supposed to beat them. But we were taking it to them pretty good. We were up at halftime. They hadn't scored or done anything. And it's kind of sensed some of that with my team when we came out in the second half, right? We gave up a big bomb, 70-yard bomb. All of a sudden, they're catching some momentum. We throw an interception, this kind of thing. Now, I'm sitting here as a head coach. This is what I'm trying to get to with what's going on with our staff. Now, I'm sitting here with the head coach in the game, and I'm like, okay, we're starting to fall apart. I called timeout. And I brought the whole team up, everybody, and I chewed their damn asses out and said, hey, man, I don't know what the hell we doing around here, but we ain't won the game. We're not playing good enough, and just start talking about not quitting. And I don't care if you're tired or what you're feeling or whatnot, but we're going to play 4 quarters of football. That's what we do with Alabama football. And I had to go into this. And so my point is, I don't know what's being said in the halftime or what our coaches are saying to make sure we're kicking someone in the tail to make sure that they know that, hey, the standard is what it should have been back before. We're going to play the whole game. And if we need to run it up to 73 again just to get our point across, then that's what needs to happen. So I don't know. I question, like, when you come out flat like that, what's actually being said, to the players by the coaching staff.
Well, I'll say this, though. It's, again, looking at this team, you can never overlook a Kirby Smart team. Kirby is one of the best at making in-game adjustments. When I tell you, so they better be on their A game when they come out. And again, our offense has not been the best at third down efficiency. And if you look at what George did against Tennessee only converted 2 out of 14 on third down. That's a very low conversion rate. So Georgia's defense is operating at a very high clip when it comes, crucial moments to getting off the field. Whereas our offense is struggling to convert on third down. So we definitely got to clean that up, man. We have to clean that up.
Absolutely. Daniel, you still with us?
Man, just, hey, when these two guys talk, that people don't want to hear me. We've got 2 Bama great defensive guys talking. Let them cook.
Well, I'm giving you the chance to cook. I'm going to hand you over the skewer so you can do a little bit of grilling yourself. So when you dig into the numbers and trends, what story are the stats telling you about this team that may have you a little concerned? I'll throw you a couple of bones here. The lack or inability to run the ball, and then the fact that the offensive line does not seem to have found itself just yet. So what is more glaring to you based on what you've seen?
Well, I mean, there's a couple things, and that's where you talk about the eye test, and I think George alluded to this. It depends on what you're looking at. When you blink, sometimes they look great, and then other times it's 3rd and 7, and you see a guy wide open over the middle, and Ty hits him with a handoff, and he drops it. So, a lot of the games, for the majority of the game, the receivers looked as advertised preseason, right? We were going 4 deep with guys all the way down to the freshman phenom, Latsier Brooks. And, Ryan Williams woke up across the middle. Jeremy Bernard is the best receiver on the team. And then Isaiah Horton was getting into, so we're spreading it around. But again, you saw drops at crucial times, and that goes to Marvin's third down conversions, right? 2 of those big drops were on third down. One was in the end zone to Hollywood, and one was to Latsier over the middle where he could have ran for a day. But the question with the run game, and yes, some of it's the offensive line. I know Carroll looked really good. There was times where it looked more cohesive with him in it. Do we see more of him going forward? I think we're rotating a lot up in the guard position when I think there's a few guys that have kind of stabilized it. But I don't know. I think the run's a tell of the tape. We know what this offense is. We know what we were getting from Washington, right? This is going to be an offense that spreads it around. They are going to run the ball, but if Wisconsin stacked the line. They weren't allowing the run, and that was where their strength was going to be. They had a stronger defensive line, and look, not as strong as about to face in 2 weeks. So they were going to make Bama, and Ty beat them with the pass and see if they could do it. And consequently, he did. So was it a tell of Wisconsin doing everything to shut down the run game and Grubb and offense taking what was there, or hey, we really can't establish the run? I don't know. We'll find out against Georgia. I think it may be the latter, but because at the end of the game, that works against Wisconsin. But here's the deal: you're going to get in an SEC game, and you're going to need that 4 or 5 yard run to extend a drive, to work the clock off, to finish it. And if you haven't had it, it's not going to be there. So that's a concern. So I mean, we've got to see the ability to get those dirty runs at all times, and we just hadn't seen. It's been inconsistent, right? Hell, the opening drive against Florida State of the season, 55 yards, was predicated off the run. And since that time, it's been a completely different offense. So, yeah, there's concerns about what's the true identity of the offense, and is it going to be consistent enough when you play teams? Because, guys, you turned it on. Everybody turned it on when the Bama-Wisconsin game ended. That was a heavyweight fight up in Knoxville. And Georgia took a lot of Tennessee's best punches. And look, kid misses a field goal, and we're having a completely different story. The fact of the matter was they found a way to finish at the end of the game. And there's concerns. There's concerns, even though the offense looked as good as it did. Like Marvin said, it's Wisconsin. It's going to be a different animal with that G on the helmet.
Pettey, let me tell you what it is, Pettey. I'll break this down for you. I've been saying it since last year, and I'm going to say it again this year. Our offensive line is too big. They are too big. They don't have the best lateral movement. You watch the game against Florida State. We come out, we run the ball down their throat. You know why? Because they wanted to line up and play big boy football against us. And the moment that they seen that wasn't going to work, they made adjustments. Now you start with the games and the stunts up front that our offensive line can't block to save their damn lives. So that was an amazing coaching job by Florida State's defensive coordinator, defensive line, to realize that they couldn't just stand in the trenches and just manhandle. That wasn't going to happen. So they did what they had to do, which was with the games and the stunt, and we struggled at picking that up. You look at the one back that we had, Young, trying to pick up a stunt, got completely destroyed by a Wisconsin defender. It's like, it's not difficult. The linemen are too big. George, when you're playing against linemen that big who struggle with that lateral movement, if we running games and stunts all day, how easy is that to eat, knowing that this guy's not going to be able to reach you if you lined up, say, in a wide 9, and you're going to bend that thing back in and you're going to loop around that defensive tackle, because, again, they don't have the lateral movement to catch that type of stuff.
It's super easy. It's basically how we won the game this past time. They were a whole lot bigger than us, and we got smaller D-line, and we were just going all over the place and trying to make them, and end up with a lot of holding calls and different things against us, just because of, speed and that, you hit on this. And the notes that I actually wrote down was that what I saw, and hopefully I can, share some of this with you guys if you ever come on to Teague's Take. I might have an offensive line session. Might need to do that just alone. But the things that I saw was really when they started pulling, and I'm saying the same thing Marvin is saying. I feel like that they're athletic, right? So I saw people pulling and different things, but what I did see after that is they weren't very good in space, which is coming back to this. So they got to move, and they got to try to latch on to somebody, and it wasn't really working. They're either taking on, getting hit a little bit too hard, or they're just missing, which is a problem, particularly if you got twists and stunts and going. So even when you're trying to pull, if they got to take on this linebacker and he gives them a little something, they miss,
right.
And that's part of the issue there with our offensive line.
I'm telling you, last year when they posted this picture talking about how big they were, you can go back to one of our shows early last season. And I said the only thing that line is good for is destroying a buffet at Golden Corral. You cannot be that damn big because when you're playing against athletic linebackers and defensive linemen, you ain't got a chance.
Can they get something better than Golden Corral though? I mean, can you
a little upgrade,
real buffet, something? I don't know.
CC's Pizza, but either way. Y'all understand what I'm telling you. From when you have athletic linebackers and defensive linemen, they're gonna run circles around them. I'm telling you, and a smart defensive coordinator is just gonna stunt and game you, just like Florida State did after that first drive. They took a step back and say, "Hey, we can't match up with them physically in the trenches, but what we can do is run around them and out scheme them," and that's what they did.
Okay. All right, before we close this up, I'm going to throw it to the fans. Get in the comment section. Let's hear from you. Fans, after watching these first 3 games, I want to hear what you feel like is the most encouraging you've seen. What has you really hyped up based on what you've seen from our players? And I'll let you go ahead and answer that, folks, as we transition to our next topic. Now, we've set the stage with what Alabama looks like through 3 games. Let's dig a little deeper, guys. What's really working for this team and what's still holding them back? So we're going to talk about the positives and the negatives. I'm going in the same order, so I'm going to start with George because he is the star of the show. So every team has its strengths and weaknesses. George, when you look at Alabama right now, what positives are you encouraged by, and what areas could you come back? Or could they come back and bite them if they're not fixed?
Wait, are you telling me right now I'm not the star of the show, right? What? Okay, I'm just making sure. I don't know what's going on there.
Well, I don't know what that one poster is behind you. Not the elephant, but the other one. I ain't really sure what that is. What is that? Is that Santa Claus?
No, it's a baseball guy. It's a Dave Matthews poster, and it was from the Memphis minor league baseball park. So it's a baseball guy standing on top of it. That's also a Dave Matthews poster from Tuscaloosa. They're both
well, the other one is I think that disqualifies you from being the star of the show. It looked like a Fireball poster back there. I was getting thirsty thinking about what it is. But okay, so this will surprise you. And this is probably the good thing that, I get to watch some of this stuff. One of the positives, and it's about a person, not necessarily a thing.
Okay.
I want to give a shout out to Cam Dewberry, number 71. I think that is a positive.
Absolutely.
For it. I got to watch his intensity and he actually tried to decapitate a dude on a pull, and it just seemed like we haven't seen that in a while. That maybe they're pulling and they're doing their technique, but it was, I am trying to decleat you, hurt you kind of thing. And I had to jump up out of my chair like, dang, why ain't number 74 doing this?
You know why number 74 doesn't do it? You know why?
Can't move his feet.
He's 360 pounds. That's why. Too big.
Yeah, so that's not a, it might be not the way that you wanted me to answer the question, but we need more of that since we're talking about the offensive line. Some strong nastiness and actually hitting the target with someone. It goes back to Saban, make their ass quit, that kind of thing. I've seen that type of mindset from him that you need to be able to have. So that's good. We already talked about one of the negatives of not actually being able to run the ball. I'm kind of disgusted sitting here seeing that the only guy that had a rushing touchdown was our wide receiver last week, and he got lucky that he got in. Honestly, I mean, if the corner DB gets downhill, we're probably having to throw that in. So this run game in general is super negative. I mean, we just don't look like we're setting up our blocks right with the running backs, or maybe it's the offensive scheme, or it's just something where the running game is not that's going to be a big problem for us if we can't run the ball at all. maybe, I'm happy about Ty Simpson. He's going to sling around. I think they're going to have success there. We'll talk about that probably a little bit later. But if you can't do the basic runs, if we can't rush for 100 yards with multiple backs, this is bad. Your quarterback had the most. How many runs did he?
Ty Simpson led all rushers with 25 yards. As a team, we averaged 3.3 yards per carry for a grand total of what? 72 yards.
See, that's my alley.
George,
there. That's some bull-larky.
Hey, George, I'm going to say this to you, George, and you can comment if you want to. You know how many fat offensive linemen I ran around because they had horrible feet?
Yeah. You know how many I ran around too? Because they have all of them.
Listen, we will not be able to run the ball successfully until we have an offensive line that's not only big, powerful, but they're also going to have to be agile. Because the thing about it, when you're trying to run the ball, a lot of times you're trying to get the ball on the edge. When you have to do wrap blocks, when you're having to do those wrap blocks, if you're not athletic, you ain't wrapping nothing. If you got to chip block and get to the second level, you ain't chipping and getting to the second level at 360, at 330, like 340. You have to at them weights.
But man, I look, guys, I'm getting on offensive line, but I think this is like a football epidemic. We're in an era where the more and more 7-on-7 gets hype in the offseason. You got all these specialty camps for skill position. While the linemen, how many specialty lineman camps are there out there? One. They ain't doing. I mean, they're not getting the same kind of work. And I feel like, and then everybody wants to play D-line, so nobody's really wanting to do that. If you're not a good defensive lineman, then they move to O-line. Look, I think it's across the board an epidemic of O-line not being as good naturally.
No, Petty, I'm going to no.
Come on.
No.
I think he's got a valid point.
No. Offensive linemen get just as much work during the summer. It's just not as glorified as what you see in 7-on-7. Trust me, whenever you see those 7-on-7s going on at the opposite end of the field, a lot of times it's O-line stuff, D-line stuff going on.
Show me what a hype video looked like for an offensive lineman in the offseason. You got these running backs running around hands doing something. What is the offensive line that we get hyped
yet to see an
Hold on. I just said it happens. It's just not glorified, meaning you don't see it.
It ain't exciting. And that's what I think he's missing it. I'm with you, Marvin. It's not exciting for them. You watch what you gonna watch? Some kick steps and some power downs. No. Put some hype music in that. Come on, man.
It doesn't matter how exciting it is. This is your job. I have friends who play offensive line. I used to give them shit about it. Listen, but that's your job. And I'm going to tell you right now, me personally, as the coach, I would have that offensive line 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". That would be a 315, 320-pound weight max I would put on them. Because, again, I would rather you be smaller and more powerful, lean and agile, than big and bulky. I'm sorry. That's just me. Because I need you to be able to move and work in space. And, again, 370, 340, 290 at center, 340 at guard, and another 335 at right tackle.
Chris Wiggins said Marvin used up all his timeouts. No kid in Little League history ever got out there and said, I can't wait to get out there and block. No, because even the big dudes want to play defensive tackle. They want to hit somebody, not block for them.
Okay, but look at it as defensive tackle. Look at defensive tackle. You got Caden Proctor standing at 6'7", listed at 365, 370. Okay, at left tackle. You line him up against a defensive end, going to be 6'3", 6'4", around 290 pounds, athletic as hell, quick feet. What's the odds in that matchup 10 out of 10 times?
Well, we're getting away from the original question, and before we waste much more time, I do want to bring up another fact with this offensive line they want to put out there. They're still playing musical chairs in a few spots. Van is rotating with Jaden Roberts, which I still don't understand that when Jaden Roberts is a preseason All-American watch list, and I forgot the name of the award for the best offensive lineman, but he is up for. And clearly the offensive line plays tremendously better when Jaden's in there. But then you have musical chairs with Wilkin Formby and Michael Carroll. So to me, it says the coaches have no clue who they want to put out there. The only solid people I'm seeing that are contributing, we've already talked about them, Cam Dewberry, and then we got our all-star center. Those are the two most solid guys on that offensive line. So figure out real quick, who needs to be in that starting lineup and stick with it. Let some cohesion begin to take place, and then start working on moving some people because, yeah, you're right. 3.3 yards a carry ain't going to get it done against Georgia. You've got to have balance at some point. Yeah, we can rip it up down the field. Ty is doing his thing. I love what we're seeing from the wide receivers. I love that we're incorporating everybody. But at some point, it's going to get neutralized, and you're going to have to carry that football. But, Marvin, I'm going to get back to you. Tell me the positives, tell me the negatives, and then Pettey will answer that as well.
Positives, I'm going to go with Hill Green. You know, he was leading by example this past Saturday. That kid was out there playing lights out, hair on fire. If you look at the ball, anytime Wisconsin had it, no matter if it was a quarterback, receiver, running back, that kid was somewhere around the ball. And again, he was showing up with something. He didn't just show up. He brought something when he came. So for me, that's going to be the positive along with the turnovers. We created 2 turnovers in the game. We had multiple sacks. So to see the defense actually take some steps in the right direction, that's the positive. Now we just got to get this third down efficiency thing rectified so that we're getting off the field at least 70% of the time. I'm happy with, a third down conversion rate of 30% or lower. That's just me, myself, and I, because no team is going to go 0 for 12 on third downs. They're going to get something. But for me and my satisfaction, I would rather that number be, 2 out of 12 or something like that, a lower percentage. We can't be going 50% on third down. So we get that rectified. And again, playing against a team like Georgia, Gunner Stockton, you already know what they're about to come in here and try to do. They're going to try to run the damn ball. They're going to load the box up and make you earn it. That's what they're going to do, because, again, Gunner Stockton hadn't passed the ball much outside of the Tennessee game. That's the first time we've really seen him pass the ball downfield. So, and he did demonstrate that he can successfully do it. But that offense starts with the run game at UGA. So, boom, we got to get that part fixed. Offensively, the positive. My man Jeremy Bernard continues to show up week in and week out. He is leading by example. So again, I want to see Bernard continue to elevate his game and show people that he truly is a number 1 threat. Just happens to be playing number 2 receiver. But I am a firm believer that Bernard will be the catalyst that makes this offense go, as I've been saying all season and since the start of this season. So, again, to me, those are the positives along with Ty's play. Ty played an excellent game against Wisconsin. He made smart decisions. He didn't try to force the ball downfield. And again, when it was time to get off the field, we just got off the field, punted the ball, moved on with our lives. So he made great decisions. And then you look at his completion percentage. He's had stellar numbers the last 2 games in terms of completion percentage. But we all know going against Georgia, Kirby's going to disguise coverages. Kirby going to make you think twice about what you're looking at. Kirby going to make you second guess yourself. So again, I'm hoping that he'll stay confident in the way he's doing things, and he won't fall into that trap of letting Kirby and Schumann out scheme him, because they're gonna try to do it. So to me, those are the positives.
Pettey, you're the lone wolf here. What do you see? What are some positives? What are some negatives? Or maybe is there a player that you need to see live up to hype or even be consistent? What do you got?
Positives, I do want to echo because Marvin all off season was all over Bernard talking about what a season. And if you followed Smoke and I on Monday nights, I remember looked like I had a third eye when Bernard came in and said, guys, I think he's going to be better than a better Burton in that slot. And like Marvin says, I think he's working his way into not the number 1 receiver. He's working his way into a first-round draft pick. His strength, his ability to run routes, he's the real daggum deal. I mean, if you can't get excited about him. But then, moreover, Ty's ability to spread the ball out in this last game is what we've been waiting on and getting it to all our receivers. But Marvin touched on a lot of that, so I don't want to go on it too much. I'm going to go on the big thing. I'm going to go from a 36,000-foot view. Guys like Marvin, guys like AJ, and we said it again, we're questioning this team. And these are guys that, that went and bled for this university and like, hey, we're not seeing what we expect to see out there. And these guys heard it. I mean, Hollywood responded on social media to a tweet that it came out from our show from AJ. But this is the positive. I'll be honest. I questioned whether this team would answer in the right way. I thought they may go into a shell and we might see a team fold and this be a 5-6 win football team. I really questioned that in the back of my mind. I think every true fan did question that. How's this team going to respond? And I tell you, Bray Hubbard really impressed me with his response in the post game the other day, and that's what I wanted to point to. And that showed me, okay, I needed to see some from Alabama. I needed to see a dude that gave a little bit of heart and give a damn, and not blame or point fingers. Well, the media's getting on him. No, he said, no, they got on me, and they were right. They were right. I screwed up. I need to take. He took accountability, and that's the first step. Look, you can screw up, you can make mistakes, you can get caught loafing on a play, but don't then point finger. Well, don't get on me. It's everybody's out to get me. The world's out to get me. That's the mentality of a lot of this generation gets pegged with. Instead, he got on stage and said, no, y'all called me out and y'all were right. I needed to man up, and he did. So my positive is this team got called out by people, the B-Sci-Fi that knows what it's about to be Alabama. And A.J. McCarron said it best. You can't make up your schedule. You really wanted to play, well, it was just Wisconsin or it's just La Monroe or whatever. Well, that's who your team is. They're faceless. Play up to your standard. And look, there was guys playing up to a different standard in the last two games versus what we saw in the first one. And that's the biggest positive you can take away is how do you answer when you're getting quit, when your manhood, your strength as a football player, being called soft, all these things. How do you respond to that? And I saw dudes respond to that. And that's the biggest positive. Now, again, there's a bigger bully coming down the block in 2 weeks. It's gonna fire back. I really want to see if they keep responding to that. And if they do, we could be in for a really special season and the first week be an aberration. So that's my biggest positive is answering the bell. The negative are the little things. Clean up, like Marvin said, you got to clean up the third down. You got to get off the field on third down. We did get a few more sacks. I still want to see the defensive line, hopefully with Keenan coming back, with Beeman coming back, we're going to get a little more depth there, going to need it. But, you got to catch the ball. When Ty's throwing handoffs and nobody's around you, you got to make the plays, man. You can't drop the easy ones. That's got to be automatic, or it's going to cost you a game down the road when you need that big third down conversion to make a big play. So that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. You bring up a very good point. Tim Keenan III will be back against Georgia. But the Jeremiah Beeman out, you think that would be a concern. But with the way that London Simmons is playing, it makes you kind of breathe a lot less heavier. You're actually more excited because of what you're seeing from this young kid. He's only been here since fall camp, and we've heard all the bragging coming from his coaches in terms of how he is elevated each week. And he was thrown into the fire into a situation that most freshmen wouldn't be able to handle. Well, he stepped in there like he was a veteran from the get, and he is each week gotten better. And the ferocity you talked about, playing like some Alabama, you see it in every play from this kid. Had his first sack this past Saturday. I was excited. I was screaming real loud. I'm sure not as loud as his mama, but I was very proud of the kid because of the hard work he's put in, and also he's a friend of the show. But you love what you see from him, that coupled with Tim Keenan coming back. LT Overton had a concussion, but he'll be back. James Smith seems to be finding that inner fire. So what we're seeing up front is a positive thing. We just need a little bit better linebacker play. And you mentioned Ryan Williams. Listen, guys, I know we've been very hard on him, but the thing we need blow at any time and be the most electrifying man on that field at any given moment, but it's not consistent enough. We need to be more consistent. We need to see when a play needs to be made in traffic. He's not going to shy away from making that tough catch. He's not going to be afraid to get hit. Don't just catch the balls when you're wide open or you're on a sail route or you're in a situation like we have with that flea flicker. Make the play the best of your ability and be more consistent, because we saw it last year against Georgia. He had a tremendous game, and then he went quiet for a long time. We don't need that this year, man. We need our playmakers to be present every game. Marvin, we got a sponsor that we need to talk about. Tell the folks about what
Before we get to the sponsor, though, Justin, nobody's too hard on Ryan Williams. Listen, man. When your ass agreed to be on the cover of that damn video game, you agreed to take any and all that came with that. So if you want to be the poster child along with, with Smith from Ohio State, you got to take the good with the bad. And when you don't perform up to that standard, you know what's coming with that. You just got to take it on the chin, be a man, go back to the lab, prepare the way you need to prepare, and come out and do the job that you are there to do, the one that everyone expects you to do, the one that you've proven you can do.
Hey, you can't wear single digit numbers and be worried about some criticism. You want to be criticized, put on 17, 18, 19.
Especially
Hold
number
on.
2.
You saying he need to wear 13 or 43?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you come on over there on defense. That's what I'm saying. That's what it is. But no, man. Hey, man. Nah, all kidding aside.
Or he could watch some Fred Blitnikoff and look how he did some things and get that stick him.
No.
Listen, you got to understand. How old is he now? We talk about
18.
his age last year.
But it doesn't matter his age. When you accept that I'm going to play college football Division I, then you accept that I'm going to play at the University of Alabama. Then you accept that I'm going to be on the cover of the damn game. You got to understand, every time you walk across them white lines, you better give your 1,000% effort.
Hold on.
You better live up to it.
I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit just for this, right? Because now everybody had all year to study this dude, how they using him. He might need some extra help from, how do you get him open? What do you do, right?
No,
you fresh.
No. Look at the drops against Florida State. He was wide open. So we can't say that. And he has Bernard opposite of him. Bernard listen, he has every resource he needs. When that ball hits your hand as a receiver, you catch it. As a linebacker, in the man in front of you, you tackle him. As a DB, if the ball is there, you defend it, right?
88 for the Cowboys out there. He in the same level. He still was dropping. When people get ready to tag your ass, I'm not defending him. I'm just saying because I don't like the fact that he was dropping balls because of who.
We got a sponsor real quick.
All right.
Let's go to our sponsor, Marvin.
Yeah, hey, listen here, man. Y'all better show up to Athens with the title towel. Visit whitwillsports.com. Use the promo code, the Bama Standard, for your 10% discount. Because I have a strong feeling that this team is going to show up in Athens and they're going to give us something to damn cheer about. I think our streak of beating Georgia will go to 3. And again, show up with the title towel, baby, because we're going to need them. I got faith in this team. They showed me enough last week, and we got a bye week to build upon it. Title towels will be needed. WhitwillSports.com, baby. 10% off, thebamastandard.com.
Hey, we're not done with this, though.
All right.
And JB brought up, and you referenced it to CeeDee Lamb making them drops. And I'm going to get you guys going again. At some point, you got to say it is what it is. There are those types of receivers out there that make those jaw-dropping, dazzling plays, and then they'll drop the routine ones. Some guys, that's just who they are. Don't shake your head, Marvin. There's okay.
Listen, as a kicker, your job is to kick the damn ball. Whatever your job is to do, that's what you need to be perfecting and damn doing. Do your job. That's all I'm saying. Everybody has a job to do. Listen, that could have been several times where, I could have not made tackles. I'm tired. Or that was the outside linebacker's tackle to me. Or that was the corner or the safety's tackle to me. Now, hell, if he got the damn ball, he get tackled. I don't care whose job it is. Do your job and then some.
Yeah, and sometimes the job of us on defense is to put the fear in the heart of some of the young cats to come out there and think they just all that, They're like, okay. I mean, our energy go up, right? Our energy go up. Again, I'm not saying I really try to get into the mindset of what happens in a game with people. How do you drop a ball?
Time out. So you're saying he has alligator arms from fear. Is that what you're leading me to believe right now?
I'm saying sometimes when you play some people, if someone get in your ear, why do we talk shit in the game, Marvin? Why were you talking to them damn linemen all the time or them running backs?
Get in their head, man. Take them out.
Why would you do that if you're just to do your job? You know what I mean? You're right, but there's the other part that's why I went to this age piece, right? He's got a job he's supposed to do. He's got NIL, he's got all this other stuff or whatever. But man, there's other factors that no one takes considered.
All right,
guys, we need to move on.
One question, T. Right. You remember Willie Green?
Yeah.
He would jump over a dude, do a backflip, and make a catch. He'd run across the middle, be no one within 20 yards, and drop it. And someone even mentioned Julio had moments where, like there are guys that Marvin, I know you're shaking your head, but there are dudes that make those jaw-dropping catches, and then they'll be wide open, no one near them, and just drop one.
There's guys in the league that can't catch a damn ball. But anyway, we're going on to the next.
Yeah, Justin's getting on.
Yes. Yeah, I need to corral the cats here. Herding cats, folks. That's what I do. So a little game happened this past weekend that Daniel Pettey alluded to, a very big one. Tennessee versus Georgia. So we need to talk about what we saw. We know where Alabama stands right now, but let's look ahead at the competition. Georgia faced Tennessee, like I said, and that game may have revealed some cracks in Georgia's armor. Could that be an opening for Alabama? George, I'm going to let you first. Georgia may still be the SEC favorite, but Tennessee showed us a few cracks, like I said, this past weekend in Georgia's armor. They are indeed human. So when you watch the game, what stood out to you that Alabama could potentially exploit?
Well, if you're on the side of run the damn ball, you might as well forget it. We're going to have to exploit their secondary and throwing the daggone ball. They gave a lot of passing yards to Tennessee, and I think we're going to have to do the same if we're actually going to win the game. As much as we talk about this, what do we want with out of our running game and our linemen and all that kind of stuff, bro? I'm not confident in that. So I think that we're going to have to utilize those guys, Jeremy, Ryan, whoever else. We're going to have to sling the ball around. I'm sorry, I don't like it. I don't want to see necessarily 40, 50 passes in the game. But going back to what Marvin said, don't get yourself in third down situations. Just get the first down and two. And first down and second down. Keep yourself out of third down situations. So I do feel confident really watching them and watching the way our passing game has come. I think there's going to be a certain level of confidence that Ty is going to have to be able to move the ball in the air against them. That's the only way I see us having a chance to win this, and trying to get tricky with other stuff. Jet sweeps, I don't know, wide receivers running the ball, those type of things, but we're not going to be able to run up the gut on these dudes at all.
Marvin, let's forget about the quarterbacks for a second. This game might be won or lost in the trenches. Georgia's offensive line, we talked about ours. They're pretty much duct taped together right now. And Alabama's defense seems to be getting their stuff together pretty quickly. So they're banged up. They're trying to figure things out. They have guys they're trying to insert in there, and they're not finishing the game. Matter of fact, one of the guys they put in there led to a strip sack, which did not fare very well for their offense and moving throughout the game. From a defensive player standpoint, how big of an opportunity is that for Alabama's front seven?
I mean, you're right. We learned a lot about this game, against Tennessee. But I'm not going to say we learned the chinks in Georgia's armor. I'm going to take a different approach. We learned that Georgia is a team that's not going to quit. They're going to be very resilient. They're going to fight their asses off to the end, because Tennessee was handing them their ass for 3 quarters. And then in the fourth quarter, we seen that Georgia team show us, hey, we're still Georgia. We're not going to just lay down despite what we're losing by. So again, now looking at their offensive line, yeah, we have some opportunities there. But again, here's the thing about it. We know we're going to need 7 defenders in the box to defend the damn run against Georgia. Passing is going to be their second option. They may switch it up against us, who knows? But if you look at what they've done all season, it starts with the run. There's no way we can go in there, with 6 people in the box and think we're going to stop their run. It's going to have to be a 7-man box, potentially walking that safety down in the box, giving us that 8th man a lot of the time to help us truly defend that run, because Georgia also likes to use that tight end in between the hashes on that tunnel screen. So again, you got to be mindful of that. Don't just start walking up and taking those fakes on the run all the time as a middle linebacker, and then you're vacating the middle of the field, and then the tunnel screen is wide damn open, and then we don't walk the safety down because we needed, another man in the box to stop the run. Now he's running to the damn goal post. Again, do your job. Play gap control football. Be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. If it's man coverage, cover your man. If it's zone, be in your zone. If you're controlling a B gap, control the damn B gap. Don't try to do too much. Don't try to get fancy. Don't try to be cute. You know, I get it. We have this swarm defense where we like to get upfield. Listen, man, screens and draws are going to be a problem against that swarm defense because that's what Georgia likes to do. So you got to dial the game plan back, man, and play to what Georgia's strength is. They're going to try to run the ball, and they're going to tunnel screen you, and they're going to screen you. Stop that up the field quick crap because you're going to feed right into what they want to do if you're doing that.
All right, Pettey, you get a chance to talk now. So you're looking at these matchups. Where do you think Alabama has the clearest edge against Georgia? And based on what you've seen, should the fans lean more on the side of being very confident or maybe on the side of being cautious?
This is where we can look at the X's and O's side, and then we're going to have to look at the weird football nuance for a little bit of hope, right? I can't do it much better than George did when talking about it. I agree. I think the biggest advantage we're going to have is against the secondary. I think we may have a little better weapons at receiver than even Tennessee. Get spread it out, but running's going to be hard. But I'm going to go a different route a little bit. You know, this is where Kirby's really good, and you got to give him credit. Tennessee was down 2 cornerbacks, and you know, right out of the gate, one of the big things is Georgia. I think 90% of their passes had been for under 5 yards going into the Tennessee game. Right, first pass out of the gate, and it's a 30-yarder down the field. Well, they went at their weakness. I think we're stronger in the secondary. I know we're stronger in the secondary. So if we can keep it in front, and this goes into Marvin's point. This is where the front seven's going to have to earn their chalk to win this ball game. Georgia's not going to go at our corners like they did. They're going to go more at the tunnel screen game. However, man, Colby Young, you know, I know a lot was made on Zachariah Branch. He's a big, tall kid, but Colby Young really impressed me for them Saturday. And so did Gunnar Stockton, man. He made a few throws that were big league throws on the corner. So, again, I think we've got a better secondary, but it's going to come to that front seven. This is where you beat the Georgias of the world, and this is where Alabama has made their hay beating Georgia. I'm going to flip to the other nuance. So this is where, man, the game, and I know these guys sitting here are always going to look at the X's and O's. This is always played on the field type of thing, but you do got to look at history. You kind of got to look at the other side of the game. This is a program now. Georgia hadn't lost at home since pre-COVID, but that was to Alabama. Alabama is the program. Every program has that team that just has their damn number in whatever way. Alabama got them last year. We lose to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma, but still beat Georgia. And you look at DeBoer. When he plays heavyweights, he beats heavyweights. Undefeated against Sarkisian. When he was at Washington, he was beating them all. He beat Kirby last year. So, I mean, you know, there's that side of it too. There's something about when that Crimson team steps on the field across from Georgia, and Kirby's the best in the game right now. There is no arguing it. But that Crimson team kind of has his ass. And, so it's going to be a deal where is Alabama still, in Georgia's head? But after that, once it gets on the field, you got to play ball once it's buckled up. And I think the secondary can keep Georgia more contained than Tennessee was able to. So it turns it into a run game. And Georgia is a power run team. Like I said, Frazier, but Bowens and Phillips at the end of the game was getting 5 yards a pop. So they got a 3-headed monster that can get it. You got to pull up your jockstrap and that front seven. You better hope Keenan comes back. You better hope Beeman comes back. What we saw at Wisconsin where guys were finishing – where we haven't been, where Overton gets the sack and grabs the foot, we come off the edge with Rusall. You're going to have to finish because Stockton's going to make plays.
And Penny, to your point, where did we lose to Vandy at?
Look, that's what works.
No. Where did we lose to Vandy at?
In the front seven.
No. What city?
Oh,
Nashville.
Where did we lose to Oklahoma at?
Norman,
Oklahoma.
Do you understand where I'm going with this? How shitty we play on the road.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Well, and I thought you were going to go the fact, look, man, the biggest takeaway I had from watching Gunnar Stockton was his legs. He kept making plays on third down. That's our biggest struggle at Alabama is a damn mobile-ass quarterback.
Last year, we struggled with that.
Yes.
Didn't we lose to Tennessee last year? Where did we lose to Tennessee at?
Knoxville.
We struggle with running quarterbacks a lot, though.
We struggled on the damn road.
Not just
We
last
struggled
year.
anytime we had to get on a bus and a plane and leave the small ass city limits of Tuscaloosa. Like we didn't know how to operate outside of a small ass damn town. It's still football. You still put your helmet and your shoulder pads on and play the same game you played since you were 6 years old. Let your nuts drop and do your damn job, whether it's in Tuscaloosa or on the road.
Hashtag let your nuts drop.
Nuts drop.
I also have a hard time covering the tight end. So please do me a favor and know where Oscar Delp is on the field at all times. He's a guy that can get loose and be an issue creator. Marvin, before we go into our last topic, tell the folks about next week.
Oh, man. You're not going to want to miss next week's show. Two of my good friends will be on. Former New Orleans Saints, Kenny Smith, who played with me at Alabama, and Charles Grant, who played for the University of Georgia. If you watched last year before the Georgia game, Charles was on with us. Charles is he's very informative about Georgia football. I mean, make no mistake about it. He's one of the sharpest individuals on that field you'll ever meet. I'm telling you now, it's going to be a great show because, again, Charles and Kenny together is always magic. It had to have been all of, over 20 years ago. I'm in New Orleans hanging out with them when they were playing for the Saints. I can't tell you the stories, but just know those two are characters, and it's going to be a great time.
All right. We got one more thing to cover here. And, guys, I know we have a lot of games to play. The schedule is horrendous, but there's still a path to the SEC championship. And just be real here. We don't do anything else but that, right? Tell me what Alabama's path to getting to Atlanta is. Start us out, Marvin, then to George, then Daniel.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, the path to Atlanta is something you're not even discussing right now, getting your teeth kicked in by Florida State. Right now, you're focused on one game at a time. You got to win them because you lose to Georgia. That puts you in behind the 8 ball already because when you look at the rest of the schedule, Vandy, South Carolina, LSU, Missouri, it doesn't get any easier. You cannot take a loss to Georgia. So that's the path to the SEC championship. One game at a time, 1 week at a time, and take care of your business when it's time to take care of your business. That's the path to the SEC championship.
Bro, I don't know if you said that was next or not, but okay, so we're talking about DeBoer and can he win against ranked teams? I think everybody left except for one team is ranked at least pretty decently on there, right?
That schedule is brutal, George.
You're talking about this path to the SEC championship. I mean, he said this is one damn game at a time, and the path is going to start this 2 weeks from now, right? Because you can't losing one early. All right, you're not out of it. We've seen that from the committee and all that kind of stuff. You don't want to lose a second one early because if you lose one down the road, now you're back at 3, right? So the path is actually you got to be very consistent here, and you can't give this game up. This is like ginormous, and you still got other teams that you got to win. So, what do you got to do? In the end, I think. You got to win this one. You have a little revenge against Vanderbilt. You beat Missouri. Then you got to go face a Tennessee team. Can we shut them down or whatnot? I mean, it's just there's a lot of games you got to do. So you got to win this one. I think you might can handle the rest. Then you're gonna have to beat LSU because they're pretty stinking good too.
Listen, don't sleep on Vandy. I watched them against Virginia Tech, and I thought, okay, this Vandy team. And, Virginia Tech sucks. Then I watched them play South Carolina even before Lenore Sellers got hurt. And they were giving South Carolina all they wanted and then some. Even if Sellers didn't get hurt, Vandy would have won that game.
They were winning before he went out. And
that's what I'm saying.
Lenore Sellers, most overrated quarterback in his ever.
That's my point. So for them to have that ability to go to South Carolina and give South Carolina all they wanted in Columbia, don't sleep on this Vandy team. That defensive line that Vandy has, it's actually a lot better than people give them credit for. And that offense that they run, it's very Malzahn-like. It's very difficult to defend. They want to get to that perimeter. So if you're not setting that edge, man, your ass is in for a long day.
He better been studying that film all year. They better have a plan. But anyway.
I'm glad y'all finally started answering the question. Y'all started all B-sci-fi like it's a process, one game at a time. Look, man, I ain't on that football field. I can look ahead all I want. My process don't matter. I'm looking at the schedule, and I'm looking at how do we get there after losing to damn Florida State. So, no, but y'all make great points. Like Vanderbilt's going to be tough. You can't lose any of the landmine games, right? You can't lose at Missouri. You can't lose Vanderbilt. You got to clean those up. You got to clean up the rivals, which is you got to win the third Saturday in October. You get it at home. But then you go down to the Voodoo Palace where they have Indian burial ground seances before the game at Jordan-Hare. You play Auburn and no telling what the hell. You got to clean those. But then you got to win 2 of the 3 big daddies. And the big daddies right now are Georgia, LSU, who I got questions. They had 5 interceptions at home against DJ Lagway and still only won by 10. They had a 77-yard touchdown call back on a holding and a dumbass quarterback from Florida that's also overrated could have probably lost to Florida at home. LSU's got problems in the run game too. They got problems on the offensive line. But you take 2 out of 3 from Oklahoma, LSU, and Georgia. So you can still lose Georgia. You take care of Oklahoma at home. You take care of LSU at home. You take care of your rivals and avoid the landmines, and you can still get the 2 losses. But
what about Tennessee? What about Auburn? What about
take care of the rivals. You got to get through the third Saturday, and you got to get through the Indian burial ground.
Hey, listen, man, this might be the worst schedule I've ever seen.
So what's the path? Yeah. So the path is something like this.
Well, a lot of landmines.
Don't overlook. Don't overlook Oklahoma either. Oklahoma seems to.
I'll be honest.
Mateer at quarterback.
Well, they got good defense, man.
Shout out to Ty Bates, Oklahoma defensive coordinator. That's my dude, man. Hey, Bates, keep doing what you're doing, except when you play us. Remember, you played at Alabama. Show us some favor.
Right? I need to text him too. Shoot.
All right. Listen, we've got to the end of our schedule here. Before we end things, we got to get to a few audience questions because, after all, this is a show for the people. So let's start it out. Ed D, Alabama versus Georgia. Who has the best right tackle?
Don't ask me because I ain't answering that.
You can give us a whole big old rant, but you can't say that you think the other team got a better.
I like athletic offensive linemen that can move, and I'll leave it at that.
Well, I'm trying to figure out what the angle is on this question as well.
I think he's insinuating that that's where both teams are struggling at that position in particular.
Well, I'm actually going left tackle for.
Well, there's that too.
So, I mean, you already hit on it, Justin. You know, rolling linemen in and out, trying to figure out who's doing what, who's getting rolled up on, who's getting hurt, and all this kind of stuff. So it's just, I don't know that I feel totally good about either one of our tackles.
Well, George, to your point, we're getting ready to go into a stretch to where your offensive line needs to be cohesive and can work together. If you're still piecemeal in the offensive line, what we get ready to go into, you got some problems. Because like I know, George, when that center's making those calls and setting those protections, if guys are not all on the same page because they're not used to playing together, that's going to be a problem. Because you don't know the weaknesses. If I'm at tackle, I know what my guard struggles with. Then I could potentially help him with it slightly. If I'm that type of dude. But if you don't know what he struggles with, you can't really help him with nothing because y'all hadn't played together. Knowledge goes a long way in this game.
All right. Tat Lawson, we got a super chat, $10. Malzahn and Vandy literally run the single wing or a version of the old Notre Dame box. Thank you, Tat. We greatly appreciate that, brother.
But Tat, nobody stopped it yet, so I don't see them abandoning no time.
It's because you don't see it that often. I mean, you're trying to get a scout team to run this offense, which ain't gonna happen because don't nobody play it unless you're from Town Creek or some of those small thing out there. Yeah, I mean, no, seriously, it's just anytime you play against teams like this, yes, you can be able to scheme things that maybe you can put it on paper, but you know how hard it is sir, if your scout team can effectively run what they're trying to do. And our guys are.
But George, you know what they want to do. They want to get to the edge. That's where those offenses function. So you just got to seal the edge, play gap control football, be where you're supposed to be. This is one of those games where you can't try to be a hero and make plays that you would make in
Sure, I can do
football.
though. I'm
That's
not.
what I'm saying. That's why I say.
But they don't even block you sometimes.
That's why I say you just
they
have
don't
to
even
be
block you, and
disciplined.
then you're like, "Well, what's going on?" Well, and then all of a sudden, boom, he gone.
But that's why I say you can't make plays you would normally make in traditional football. You have to hold your ground and literally be responsible for what you're responsible for. Just because you see a ball and like you're gonna make a play, the moment you go try to make that play, that ball will come right to where you were just hit. It's this is not a game where you pad your stats. It's a game where everybody's accountable and you work together as a unit. Like if you're not working together as a unit, you will never stop these offenses.
Don Parker's got $10 thrown our way. I am so happy that I am so not alone on the sentiment of the O-line. Keep telling y'all they need to stop mixing that Haagen-Dazs with Slim Fast. Book lines are missing a mean streak too. Both lines are missing a mean streak too.
Yeah, man. The best thing they could do, man, when these guys come back next year, get that weight off them dudes, man. I'm telling you. Get them dudes around 315, 320 and make them powerful and agile. And this offense will go a lot further.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and let them have a Slim Fast, and if y'all want to give up the Haagen-Dazs, go ahead and y'all can ship it over here to Texas a little bit.
I hear you. Hey, we got some help here. We got Jimmy Clay with $10. Let's go, Bama. Thank you, Jimmy Clay. We can use that towards shipping some Haagen-Dazs George Teague's way. Charles Banks, what does Keenan really bring to the defense besides a big body? He doesn't get any sacks or quarterback pressures. You defensive guys, who wants to take this one?
Sure, I'll go.
Go ahead. All right.
Listen, man, you always want a guy in the middle of your interior defense that is what is a two-gapper, one that's going to command a double team. When you get a guy that can command a double team, that allows your outside linebackers or defensive ends who are rushing to get those one-on-one matchups. That's what you want, especially in, third down and longer or whatever. You're going to need those guys to get that ball out quick because, again, that starts with pressure. You can't get pressure, though, if the offensive line could just single block all of your defensive linemen, because then they're just going to double team or chip your best rusher. That's why you need those bigger bodies in the bigger of that defense that are going to command that double team from that guard and that tackle, from that center and that guard, because now you're going to get those favorable one-on-one matchups with your linebackers and your defensive ends that like to rush.
Exactly right. I ain't a whole lot more I can say that. You want them dudes up there because they make your team better. It doesn't matter if he's not getting the sacks or something. He's opening it up for someone else. We talk about it at every level. We need them linemen to take up two guys so the other guy can go make the tackle. It's a selfish position that Keenan has to play. You know what? If they come off too early and they start creeping up on the linebacker, then guess who gets to make the play? Then Keenan makes the play after that.
Now, hold on. Now, you say this is selfish. It's selfless football and all. Now, earlier when we were talking about offensive linemen, y'all want to talk about how unglorified it was. Being a defensive lineman didn't glory either that often. What do you mean? But y'all was so ready to ride for the offensive lineman and they glory, though. What? You not going to ride for the D lineman?
Hey, I do, but they still flashy. This is what I'm saying. They still going to they get sacks, right?
More people know Aaron Donald.
They get stats.
Jones.
The only offensive line stat you got are all negative. How many sacks did you give up? How many penalties do you have?
Pancakes?
Right?
What about pancakes?
Man, would you show me what stat sheet got pancakes written
House
on it?
They quit that after Orlando Pace retired.
There's that. Yeah, I mean,
I'll tell y'all something funny though. Back when I was in school, and even after when I was playing arena football, like right guards, I would always tell them, y'all got the worst women on the team. Nobody pays y'all any attention.
That's right.
But as far as what he brings to the field, as far as a leader, that's something else that you cannot disregard, man. That dude is a true warrior, man, a dog. And you saw what he did on the sidelines. Imagine that on the field. All right, one last question. It's directed to Marvin Constant. Have you ever thought about running a coaching clinic to coach coaches on the defensive side of the ball?
They know what they're doing. They don't need me.
Clearly not, sir.
No, I mean, okay, Coach Teague. How many coaching clinics do coaches go to yearly from college and NFL coaches?
You don't see. So I'm not sure what you're asking me. From college, from a high school standpoint, we'll go listen to the college coaches.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Talk about the stuff. When you're going the other way, sometimes you have colleges that visit pros, but it's really to kind of work on a scheme deal, not necessarily about technique stuff. So it's a little bit different.
But what I'm saying is they're always exchanging knowledge.
That's correct.
So they don't need me. They know what they're doing. They get enough knowledge.
Am I hearing this right? This is coming from the guy who started a clothing line about a certain defensive coordinator?
That's because he sucked at his job, man. Listen. He needed to be put on PDP, all right? So that was me first starting the PDP process for him, okay?
We actually have one last question. Marvin or George, can you answer this? From Stacy, is Clay Rousseau an edge or a nickel? What's Womack's deal with dropping edges in coverage?
I'll let George have it.
He is an edge. Don't disrespect me out here talking about is he a nickel. Come on, man.
What you say, George? A nickel plus a zero?
Yeah.
He a 50 backer.
But I will say a lot of times, I don't know. We drop our ends some a little bit. And I don't like to do that a lot because it's very hard for them to understand where or how to get in the space. You got to spend a lot of time if you're dropping certain guys out to try to defend the pass. So, for me, you're trying to look for some kind of change up, show a look, and hopefully they throw the ball right to them and they stick their paws up and intercept it. So no, he's not a nickel. I do think that you need to keep this guy rushing as much as possible, and then change up from time to time. Just as you sneak in a DB by him or something inside. This is the clinic that you're talking about that me and Constant would have to talk about on what that actually means when you're dropping guys back into coverage like this because you're doing something else with simulated pressures. So I don't want to get too deep into that part.
Yeah, but to George's point, a lot of coaches are going to do this for several reasons. One being the ball. Usually, when you drop those defensive linemen, you're anticipating that ball coming out quick, some type of slant, some type of you're
trying to clog a line,
cut route or dig route or something that they can potentially get underneath. If you understand what I'm saying, because they're going to be taller, longer arms, so they can get those balls knocked out of the air a lot more effectively than a DB who's going to be a lot shorter, because most of your DBs are going to be in that 5'10", 5'11" to about 6'2" range, whereas you have those edge rushers, most of those guys are going to be 6'4", 6'5", 6'6" with longer arms, so they have more reach. So it gives you more room to work with in terms of covering those shorter routes, those shallow routes. So that's why I used to do it when I coached, because again, they take up a lot more space than a DB or a linebacker would in a lot of cases because they're just bigger bodies.
True.
And I guess I was going to ask you, George, as a coach, and then you being a DB, but teaching those guys to work in space like that. Like there's some naturalness to it, but also understanding spatial awareness of where you got to be in that space. Because if you get out of it, it can get real ugly real quick, and then you got a guy out of position, and you're going to look foolish. Right?
The closer you get to the line, the harder it is for you to understand space. And now you're taught they have to remember, am I dropping the 2? Am I dropping the 3? And where is that zone? Then all of a sudden the guy goes in motion and someone's trying to tell him something. Then he got to go from the other one to the other one. And then they ain't even dropping and they late. It's difficult, but it is good when you're effective at it because something good can happen from it. Or you just disrupt a time because you're getting someone line of sight. As Marvin was talking about, but it takes a lot of time to do that right. I watched it in the pros. You're trying to get DeMarcus Lawrence, and these guys, these pass rushers, to actually fake blitz, drop out, turn their hips the right way, and really know if this guy's running an out or a slant. Give me a break, bro. You're just hoping you get lucky and they hit him right in the chest. Then you're genius. Anyway.
Great stuff, guys. We've went into overtime, so it's time to close things up. But before we go, I want you to tell the folks how they can find you the shows that you do, and all the good stuff that you're a part of outside of here. We'll start out with Marvin Constant, then go to Pettey and George Teague.
All right, you can find me and George this weekend at Michael Irvin's place. No.
Right.
I'm sure I'm calling that,
No, You can find me on Instagram, Constant45. You can find me on X, Constant451. I ain't hard to find, man. I'm out here.
Pettey_Daniel with this rowdy clan every Tuesday night, 6 Central, 7 Eastern, and then on the post-game show. Obviously won't be happening this week, but you'll catch us after the Georgia game, wrapping it up, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So, yeah, catch us here till the next time, and then hanging out with legends like the man next to me, George Teague.
Whatever. Marvin didn't say you can find him on the beach or fishing. Or
he didn't have to. It's pretty much assumed.
Just follow him on social media, and you'll know that's where he's at.
I'm not gone that much.
Whatever.
I'm beginning to question your citizenship.
So, yeah, I've been busy, man. I'm glad to be a part of the Bama Standard, to be on this show. As you can see, I'm down here, Teague's Take, on Mondays, 8:15 p.m., where we're showing a lot of film and doing things. We let these guys be the experts in certain other facets of this, and we like to actually break down some plays for you. So, Marvin, Justin, I do want to put this out to you right now in front of everybody. When you're watching this game, I want Justin to be able to tell y'all how to get in touch with this show, the Bama Standard, and I need for you to pick out one play that you want us to break down or talk about on Teague's Take. Send it in however he tells you how to be able to do that. We'll sort through those, and whatever one stands out the most, JT and I can go into a deep dive on that play that everybody kind of wants to hear. Could be good, could be bad. Something I think that'll be fun, Justin, if we do that.
You know what would be a good play for you all to break down? That first down play that Georgia ran in overtime against Tennessee, the one that got them down into scoring position. Because like I know as a coach, you save that one play for situations just like that when you know the game is on the line. When I got to score, I got to win. You have that list of plays that fall into that category that you normally don't run. You save them for special situations.
Marvin, I'm going to need you to follow the rules. I'm going to need you to email that in. Just don't get a call into the show and be like, hey,
that's
man,
right, folks.
He doesn't do this.
We could have a whole episode on how Marvin doesn't understand how to follow the rules.
Yeah, and the show would be set for 15 minutes, but it'd go an hour and a half.
Yeah. All right, so this is like we're going to send it, right? So if there's things y'all want to know after the game, we're going into 2 weeks from now, or if there's something that you want to see maybe this next week, email Justin Riley at the Bama Standard, right? And let him poll it, and he'll get back in touch with us, and we'll go back and find it. This should be primarily about Alabama games, right? But we do get the next opponent film, right? So we will have Georgia film after this Saturday, if that makes sense to you guys, right? So we'll have that, and we'll be able to talk about it. But we already have the Alabama film. So if there's anything over the past 3 weeks that you want to talk about that we haven't talked about, do that. Okay, so that's Teague's Take there. If you guys are in the Metroplex around here, Sunday mornings, 10:30. It's the only live TV show, pregame TV show. Y'all probably didn't know this. That I get to be on TV on Sunday mornings at 10:30. We're going to break down all the Cowboy stuff. So a lot of people they'll get to show more film and do things of that nature. So it's kind of cool to be able to do that on Sunday mornings.
You missing Micah yet?
Say again?
You missing Micah yet?
Man, I missed Micah on the first day that he before he even got on the plane, just as soon as they made the announcement, because we ain't got no pass rush. But anyway,
brought back vintage Russell Wilson this past weekend.
That's right. There's a problem, but
can you break down when George Pickens is going to show up?
Oh God. Anyway, so
fantasy owners are asking.
Yeah, so just hit me there. Find me on X and Twitter at Teague Football, at Teague Football. Like to interact, post a lot of stuff, and I love posting popcorn because I'm eating popcorn all day, every day. All right, that's it. Yes, sir.
George, we're so grateful to have you, man. It's always a blessing whenever you come on and share your wisdom and have a good time with us. I know 90% of what we do is nonsense, but you hang in with us, so we appreciate that. But listen, great show. Thank you, everyone who's been a part in the audience tonight. Thank you for the super chats. Everyone hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You see everyone's social media right there down below and the times of the shows. I want you to do your best to follow the folks you see there and also get in the audience of these shows. And as George said, you can be a part of his. Send me that email, what play you want him to break down. Very simple, a lot of fun. We will see you next week when we have Kenny Smith and Charles Grant on to get ready officially for Alabama versus Georgia. That's going to do it for all of us here at the Bama Standard. Roll Tide, everyone.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, baby.